Okay. See, I kind of like that y'all both added that and we kind of like pivoted towards like masculinity and like relationships, right? So like as I mentioned like with the term fuckboys earlier, it's like in opposition to that, there's another term called simping. And so it's like simping's on the other end of the spectrum that says if you are treating your partner nicely in a way that isn't about dominating, now it's frowned upon. So now it's like, because you take that approach to say like my wife is everything or even just general partner, if you do that too much, now you're labeled as a simp, and now you're disrespected for that. But then on the other side, if you're overly masculine and aggressive, it's labeled as a fuckboy. So it's like it seems like there's never any real middle ground between them both.
One thing I will say.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Well, one thing I will say, I'm the biggest culprit of a dude that my homeboy, but it's because their roles and their perspectives change, and I notice it. It's like, hey, bro, you got in a relationship, you sipping. But then at the same time, it's like, but I love how you treat your woman. You know what I mean? So just because I make a joke about something, sometimes like me, like some people do get mad and they're actually like, oh, nigga, you're a simp. Pardon my French. I'm like, hey, bro, you sipping a little bit. But that's your relationship. You know what I mean? So for me, I might see some controlling things going on in a relationship. I'm like, hey, bro, you kind of simping a little bit. I probably step your foot down on certain things because I feel like you're just getting ran over. As a friend, I might be saying that, but it's their relationship. I'm respecting the relationship still at the end of the day. If that's how y'all operate, that's how y'all operate. I mean, as a man, I got to be able to respect that as well.
That's right. Okay. Aaron, you about to say something too?
Yeah, that's hey, look at your comment section because it's going up. That's to me, that's another word that needs to be either redefined or eliminated because I'm tired of hearing it, which is simp. Because we've moved past what the original definition is to now.
What is the original definition? Out of curiosity.
I'd have to look it up, man. It was real, like clearly defined. Let me see, because
I saw one online. It was just saying like a silly or foolish person. That was one definition.
That's not the context we're looking for, though.
Yeah, a silly or foolish person, and then there's one that they've kind of a new definition, and that's one that does too much for the person they like. Which even that definition is weird to me. It's like if this is my wife, right? Why would I not tell her that I love her every day? Why would I not do nice things for her? Why would I not do certain things? Now, what I will say is I wouldn't do those things to the detriment of myself. And I think that's where we kind of get into to me, if you want to say what my definition of simp is, when you are doing things, but you're not taken care of. That's a problem. That's an issue because you're not meeting your basic needs. But if you're good and you're taking care of your woman like you should, how is that a simp? That doesn't make any sense to me, ultimately. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because that's just contributing to a functioning relationship. Or it should be, by definition.
And you look
I got a question for you, bro.
Yeah.
But knowing the way that perspective that I see a lot is from women nowadays is this dude has to be doing this for me just to even be with me. Now, when you got a dude and maybe he wants that woman and he's doing this off the rip, which is kind of out of pocket, and it's out of pocket, and you call and you like, bro, you like you're simping because she's clearly taking advantage, and and that's a wide perspective nowadays. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, is that because for me that's simping when you go and it's like, well, yeah, we just start talking, but I gotta pay your phone bill. Well, you simping, you paying their phone bill, and y'all just start talking. So I think that's rampant nowadays as well, because that's what women want, and they look good enough, and men are just a lot of men fall into that.
So would you say in that interpretation is much more on excessive treatment, like even outside of just like an established relationship, but just excessive to the extent where it's just like, you want to give them much more than they should be eligible for. So kind of like what we see like in the clubs, buy a woman a drink kind of scenarios. Is that what you're saying?
Sort of, yeah. Yeah, okay. I mean, it's almost like transactional. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
might not be necessarily money, but it's transactional. You know, like I've had women tell me like, "Oh, we've had sex, so I should be able to ask you for money." And I was like, "Well, nigga, I blessed you with dick. Sorry, but I blessed you." You know what I mean? Like, I'm not putting your pussy on a pedestal. Your pussy not worth more than my dick. You know what I mean? You can't. What's the percentage of men that make a woman come? So, you know, like different things like that. I went off on a tangent, but
you're good.
It's things like that. Like, why is your pussy inherently worth more than my dick? Why? You know what I mean? So I think that contributes like that view onto simping.
And in that aspect, I do agree with you. And I think that goes back to, you know, my point ultimately is that, especially like you said, if you've only been in a relationship for like a few weeks, few months, and she wants you to pay a phone bill, that's to the detriment of you. You're doing something extra that you don't need to do because you guys aren't on that level. And to that, I would say, I think, is that you generally know what kind of person, like what kind of individual person is off the rip talking to them. If she's a woman and she's telling you, "Oh, I need you to have a 6 figures, I need you to do this and do that," you know that, and you can then make that decision. Okay, you might not be the woman for me. You fine, but you may not be the woman for me because you asking for all of this, and we're not even in the stages of a relationship. You know what I'm saying? And for me, I think that's something we need to really pinpoint. I think people need to be all right with loving themselves first and make sure they good. That's the problem. Everybody trying to get in a relationship, especially us men, and we're not good. You know what I'm saying? We're not good financially. We're not good this or that. You know, we want pussy, we want a woman. That's regardless of what we got going on in our lives. You feel me?
And that brings up like a crazy question. Like, do the majority of women want simps? Yeah, I mean, like, I mean, that's a whole different topic. But
see, I will say that is an interesting topic because I actually was reading some on Instagram recently. Like literally, I was just talking to a friend about this earlier, so it's very coincidental. Where it's the argument was, well, the question at hand was, if they make about like the equal amount of income, should they split everything? Like if two individuals, right, they make 50, the other one makes 50, and they're moving together in one house, one established like living, should they split everything equally, or should there be some sort of discrepancy between the two roles, especially like in a more like male female particular roles? And when I was reading through the comments, well, in the comments, most of the women commenters that I read, they actually were saying that the men should actually contribute more to the woman, if not exclusively.
I mean,
and that goes back to the traditional roles. What was that?
If you're married or you're in a relationship, that's a big deal. You're just in a relationship, you're courting. You're not married. Why are you financing her life? So, I got very clear definitions of roles and when we become one. Until we won, why am I paying your bills? Is one. You're crazy, out of pocket. You know what I mean? So it goes back to your principles and how you define things. Some dudes, they get with a chicken like they're gonna do what it takes to keep her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
if I'm married,
no, go ahead.
If I'm married, I'll do what it takes to keep her. But if she wants some marriage level thing and we're not even married yet, like, no, I'm weighing the pros and cons of what the heck she's asking.
Yeah. Well, I'll say, like, it's a very good question to ask. And like, do y'all feel like women want more of like what they would consider as the quote unquote simps? Like, what are y'all thoughts on that? Because I think that's a very good question to ask.
I don't think necessarily women want simps. I think more so they've grown up with this ideal that men are supposed to be taking care of women. Unaware that's for a husband and wife, but they've grown up with this idea that men are supposed to take care of women. And having that, they still want that, even through casual relationships. You know, they want and there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? That's how they were raised and everything like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But right. I do think that, the problem with mixing relationships and society and everything like that and our views on relationships, you're never going to know until you're actually in a relationship. You can have these preconceived notions all you want to, but until you're actually in a relationship and going through the highs and lows, you're not going to know what you want. I think most of us don't know what we want. We have this idea, oh yeah, I I have this good paying job. I want a woman that's going to take care of the house, cook and clean. You might get in a relationship and it's not at all what you expected, you know, and that's all through life and all through experiences. And I think that's been a huge problem, is that people are not experiencing life. They're trying to live life through what they've been taught and what they think they should be doing.
Versus actually living through it.
Experiencing it and figuring out what works for them. You know, I've dated women who, you know, they don't want me to pay for a damn thing. And not that, you know, hey, you good. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool. But it was interesting dating women like that paid for their dinner. You know what I'm saying? That went to the movies. Nah, babe, I got it. You know what I'm saying? It was interesting because I had never experienced that before, you know?
Yeah. And I think that kind of contributes to what you said earlier too, is like the evolution of how we're moving away from like just the traditional gender roles. And like David said, is like there's still an underlying principle and foundation that should be kept up. But the more that we try to create more of a spectrum versus that binary approach, I think that's what's kind of leading to that. Because like I have been on dates where it's like she would want to pay, we go half, like we just pay our own way, we do half on the overall total. But it's like it's much more opportunities for conversation to kind of see how things would go, instead of the he's a man, he's paying, I'm the woman, I'm attending. And you know, it's much less defined as a binary approach. And I think I like that aspect. But I think that's a very good point to bring up, though. So,
but I do think like it's levels to everything, and you got to discuss it. But if I'm married and I'm able to pay all the bills myself, why would I want my woman paying bills? Go ahead, like go be fruitful with our money. You know what I mean? Like you could shop, you know, you hopefully you invest some. Like you're making money too. Go be fruitful. Like why would I want? If I can pay for everything, why would I want her to pay for anything, if that makes sense? Like, obviously, in marriage, sometimes both need to work, but if I can pay for everything, that's an ideal situation for me. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it should be expected right away, but ideal, yes, in my opinion.
Okay, so I'll say, so this kind of ties in, because I know we're running up on time too. This kind of ties into like the last question I wanted to ask y'all. So in closer, let me see. I wanted to ask y'all, what is your definition of the quote unquote real man? What does that look like to you, both as yourselves and then in modern day society?
In my opinion, a real man is a person that this is gonna go back to the Bible, but a real man is a person that thinks love first in all aspects of his life. So I'm not talking about just relationships. I'm talking about dealing with everyday people. I'm talking about the perspectives of the world. Like you have to think love first. And I think that's one of the biggest aspects that's missing from men, because society tells men not to love. You know what I mean? But the Bible tells men to love first. So that's like two separate spectrums, and I think everything starts with that.
Okay, I respect that. I like that. Aaron, what are your thoughts?
So mine is a little bit more in like bullet point form. You know what I'm saying? But there's qualities that I attest to someone who is a quote unquote real man. For me, you know, a real man takes care of himself in all aspects of life, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Real man is emotionally intelligent, knows how to handle himself and conduct himself in public and in private. You know what I'm saying? Has control and grasp of his life, essentially. And also, I agree with his definition, has love for everybody, but takes care of the people in his life. You know, realize that there's a goal in life, whether it's marriage, through work, whatever, and realizing that you first have to understand who you are and work towards that goal and help those along that way. You know what I'm saying? For me, a real man is not selfish. A real man takes care of business, essentially.
I respect that too. I like it. I like how it's I like that bulleted approach that you took too. Okay. All right. Well, was there any closing comments or anything from either of y'all before we head out?
Man, I'm gonna add one more thing, bro. Love and principle. Gotta be principled as well. Yeah, man. That's the last part of man to me, but I enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, man, likewise.
I agree. I told y'all would. Y'all didn't believe me at first. Yeah, y'all know I do my research ahead of time. I make sure, make sure we bring all the little subtopics to the table, and it's really making sure that, the conversation could be held where it's like, one, allow y'all to express yourselves as individuals, but then two, challenge whatever views that you have. So, yeah.
Good. I think you got us both. You got us both on the faith one coming up, right?
Oh, yeah. On the theology.
That's
theology is going to be a spirituality versus religion. So I think that's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Definitely a good look, man. I'm gonna have to do some research for that one. This one I'm off the top of the dome. Didn't think too much about it, but I'm gonna tap in before I look crazy on camera.
Nah, for
I probably
sure.
already look crazy today. Who knows?
A little bit, but you good.
We'll see what the comment section look like.
Hey, facts.
For sure.
Don't sound like me on nothing that's out of pocket.
Nah, I ain't gonna. Nah, not yet. Once we need some clickbaits, I got you.
Oh, thanks. I'll provide.
For sure. All right. Well, let me do this little outro real quick. So, to our viewers and our listeners, what are your thoughts on masculinity? And make sure you leave your comments below. Subscribe to our channel for more content, and be sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, much love and peace.
Just got off the clock, just got on my chill. Called on my homie Brent to see what be the deal. What you trying to do? I'm just trying to heal. Hella floated, never bloated's what I'm trying to feel. Hop in the whip and